Hiya, Grace.
Hi, babes.
Or should I say the internet's big sister?
Oh, God.
There it is. We've started. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. It's so nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I've been waiting for this day for ages.
I feel privileged.
I feel like we have got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
A lot. And I think let's start on what we just spoke about, the internet's big sister. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the beginning. How did you get that name?
So I was given that name.
Okay.
I don't remember when or how, but I think I just took the role of people's big sister, talking about taboo things and I guess creating conversations around difficult subjects. But I think it happened like 3 or 4 years ago. And I think it was because of my transparency and the fact that I am quite comfortable being vulnerable online. And I think that being vulnerable is quite powerful. And I just try and promote that, and people, I guess, can relate to it and have taken to it.
And so was that through your YouTube? Because it's your YouTube, you do a lot on YouTube where you speak about every subject, and I know you've been very open on there. So was that where the name came from? Was it mainly YouTube or?
I don't know. I feel like it came through on Twitter, actually.
Oh, really? Oh, you do love a conversation on Twitter, actually. I've seen them.
Yeah, I think it was Twitter. But I started YouTube in 2011, so I'm like an OG vlogger.
Literally.
And then obviously my blog and Instagram and stuff came after that. So I feel like obviously people see my content on there. Yeah. But I guess Twitter can be more interactive. Yeah. So I think it came through there. Okay, and then obviously now I've kind of moved on to other avenues and like I fell out of love with YouTube for a bit. Now I'm sort of trying to get back into it.
Yes, I've noticed. We're actually going to talk about that in a little while because I've got that in my next notes. Okay. Down. I have noticed that and we're going to talk about that. But you've recently said, I think I listened to it on your podcast, which we are also going to talk about a bit later. Okay. You said that you feel like you've outgrown the name, which I found really interesting. What do you mean by that?
The internet's big sister. What do I mean?
It's a big question.
I think before, being a role model was important to me. Yeah. Because I've gone through a lot of stuff in my childhood. Yeah. And so for me, I was constantly, as a child, striving to get out. So I worked really hard. So I was dancing 20 hours a week as a kid. Career was like my focus, all I cared about. Because I wanted to get out, I wanted to be someone. And I think that when you've had a lot of difficulties as a child, you want to change that. You don't want that to be your, the only part of your identity, basically. Yeah. So when I was being called a role model, I liked it. It gave me a sense of purpose and made me feel like I was doing something right. But now I'm in a place where I'm very self-aware and I know who I am without people telling me. So although I get that I'm the internet's big sister and people see me as that, I'm 28 now. So I feel like maybe I'm the internet's mum. No, I'm joking.
We've got a new one.
I just think I've outgrown a lot of labels that people put on me.
Yeah. And you spoke there about your YouTube and how, you know, you've been through some difficult parts in your life with depression, tackling bullying, and you've spoken so openly on your social media. What was it that made you think, you know, I want to share this with the world?
So years ago on YouTube, I was doing like MAC makeup tutorials, so far from what I do now, and just fashion videos, and it was so surface level, so what I felt like was just beneath me as a person, like my sole purpose wasn't to do that kind of content. So I outed myself. That was the initial time. I did a video called Depression to Be Perfect. Yes. And spoke about, which is, oh my God, if you watch it now.
I've watched it.
No, I think it's brilliant. I'm like a fetus, in it.
No, I'm not. I didn't expect that coming then at all.
When you look so young and I'm like... and spoke about like what I was going through. And it was like a weight had been lifted. I think that was the start of me going on a journey of like discovering my truth. But even now that seems so long ago and so surface level compared to where I'm at now. And I think that's because of like therapy and age and just like wanting to know who I am. So yeah, that's me.
And why do you think it is so important to be so transparent online?
I think everyone has a choice. I think that I get why people aren't, because the internet can be a very energetically like heavy space, and you do get trolls and you get criticism and whatever. Yeah. But I just think for me and the path that I'm on, I don't know how to not be that way. Yeah. So if I'm not being the level that I'm at, I feel like it's an injustice to myself. So I think that if you have a story to tell, you should tell it, because I think that's part of why we're here. Yeah. And I just think that women telling their stories is incredible, and I love hearing people's soul, you know, them talk about their passions and stuff. But I also love fashion, so I kind of show that you can be multifaceted. Like, I can care about mental health, but also I like clothes.
You're just completely being you online. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, like my brand is literally me.
Is you?
Yeah.
And how has the response been? So from, like you said then, you can receive criticism online, which, you know, that is unfortunately a known sort of fact that people have to go through. Well, not have to, but people do go through that. Yeah. How was the response for you when you first came online, and has it differed to where you are now at all?
Oh my God, so different.
Really?
I used to get so much hate.
Did you?
Yeah, every single day. It was absolute hell on YouTube in the beginning.
Do you know the reason I've just asked that is because I look at your social media, sorry to interrupt you, but the reason I asked is because with your sort of fan base that you've created this community, okay? And I feel like you have. I don't know about you, you'll tell me in a minute, but the response you get and the comments you get, they all seem so positive. So for you to sit there and say that in the beginning they were negative, like...
It was hell.
I actually didn't realise that.
Like YouTube still does give me anxiety, but not as much.
Really?
But YouTube, I think, was detrimental to my mental health at one point. Yeah, it was horrific. And I think YouTube does have a really dark energy. I think the anonymity of people on there, the comments that you can get, are awful. Yeah. So yeah, I used to get negative comments all the time, mainly about my appearance or how I spoke. And then obviously now it's completely different. And I think that's because I'm different. And I think that people know that I'm not going to tolerate BS, basically. Yeah. And I guess I'm older and my audience is old now. They're not as little and as immature as they used to be. I just think we're in different times. I think before it was kind of okay to constantly trash someone. Whereas now... it's not that much. I mean, it's still a thing.
I mean, it shouldn't be okay.
It's not. Yeah, it's not as prevalent as it used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've created what I think is a safe space online. On Instagram and my Twitter page, and on YouTube and my podcast as well. I think that there's very little spaces for women to be. Yeah. And just talk about what they're going through. Plus size women, Black women especially. And I'm just hoping that, as the years go on, I'm cultivating a culture for women that are waking up. Yeah.
And with that, I feel like a natural question to go from there is, what do you think more needs to be done?
With like question. Online hate.
With online hate and with I suppose it's inclusivity, it's everything there. There's a lot that can be done. It's a big question.
It's a big question. I think it's not always down to us. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves. You know, monitor your social media accounts and block certain words. But I'm like, what are the corporations doing? What are Twitter HQ doing and Instagram? I think it to put everything on us is just too much. And I think that I would say is, like, create your safe space online. Yeah. So I only follow people that make me feel good about myself, and diverse bodies, diverse opinions, races, everything, different cultures and stuff, because then you see the beauty in the world. And I honestly think that, I hate the word woke, but I honestly think that I'm so woke because of social media. Yeah. I see the most incredible discussions on Twitter. I started learning about gender and non-binary people through Twitter. Wow. Like, I wouldn't be the way I am now without having access to that. Yeah. So I do think it is doom and gloom, and there's so much that needs to be done. Yeah. But I think it needs to start at the top of these corporations. For sure. And in terms of inclusivity, I think, again, it's the brands that we see everywhere. What are they doing in their teams? Who they have working for them? Yeah. So yeah, it's just not always on the general public.
And with everything you've been through in your life, you actually wrote a book called #NoFilter. Tell me about that. Like, what an achievement. You wrote a book, you're an author. That's
I know, but
some
I forgot about that, honestly.
Really?
So, yeah, so
it's because you're so bloody busy.
Yeah.
You do a lot, which I'm going to go on to the next thing, but...
Yeah, so my book came out in 2017. Yeah.
I'm nodding like, yeah.
It's called No Filter. It's sort of like... I wouldn't say autobiography, but it's about my life, what I've been through and how I've sort of shifted and changed and how able was to like turn my pain into passion, that kind of stuff. It's a bit self-helpy, but it's a kind of, it was for me a chance to tell my story up until that point and then close the chapter. Because I think that when you constantly revisit your pain or parts of yourself that aren't really serving you anymore, it can be quite re-traumatizing. So I was like, this is my chance now to put this out there and then close the book. But yeah, writing it was an incredible process. It's very cathartic, therapeutic. And now it's out in the world.
Yeah. How long did it take?
So I signed the book deal in October 2016.
Yeah.
And it was handed in February 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, so quickly.
Such an achievement. That is.
And it was nice to just work on a passion project.
Yeah.
I really like it when you can just take time out. I think with like being, is it multi-hyphen? Where you're just where you like blogger / presenter / podcaster.
We're going on to that in the next
millennial.
One. Yes, that's you.
It's really easy to just which is what I used to do.
Yeah.
Churn out stuff. So I would do a TV show, let it go out. Then I'd do another TV show. Then I'd do a blog post and a YouTube video, and never process what I was doing ever. Whereas with the book, I was able to actually take some time off other stuff and just write it, and that's what I like doing.
And with that, do you ever look back, like now, or at any time and think, shit, look at what I've done?
Never, but I don't know why.
You bloody should.
I don't know. I think I'm aware of what I've achieved, but I'm just like, I know what I'm capable of, and I'm capable of so much more. So I'm like, well, that's great. I'm just starting, though. I'm just getting started.
This is the beginning. Oh, my God.
And that's how I feel. I feel like nothing I've done yet I mean, it's been great, but it's not it for me. Like, nowhere even near.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can only say I'm excited for what is to bloody come, because you're a blogger, you're an Instagrammer, you're a YouTuber, you're a presenter, you're an author, you're a podcast host. The list actually does go on. I'm sure I've missed a few big ones there, so I'm sorry if I have. But I want to know, this is genuinely a big question for me. Yeah. What does a day-to-day look like for you? Like, what do you do in a day?
I actually have a really chilled life. Yeah. I mean, I'm busy. But, like, I sleep 8+ hours a night.
Now, I read that, or I heard it on a YouTube channel or a podcast. I've heard that, you say that. And I was like, how?
Right.
Tell me.
My issue with life is that a lot of people don't sleep enough.
Yeah.
Sleep is so important. I think it's like number one.
Yeah, it is.
So I sleep enough. And I think I work smart. Not necessarily, I work hard. But I think I work smarter than I do working hard. Yeah. I plan my days out so that some days I'll get up, have breakfast, do my emails, write a blog post, and that's it. Other days I'll get up, emails, blog posts, film a video, go and do a podcast, come back, a job or an event. So it all depends.
Yeah.
Because I'm also trained to be a counsellor. So I'll
tell you what, you're just telling me everything I'm about to ask. Tell me about you being a counsellor. I was excited to ask you about that.
So obviously people have seen my journey and they ask questions and want help and want mentoring, and I get quite heavy questions about mental health and trauma and healing and what to do. And I felt like I think life experience is really important. And I know a lot of stuff, but I just felt like I needed to train. It just felt like a natural progression. So I signed up to an online course, like an at-home course on being, it's actually a sexual trauma survivor counselling course, so that's that. And then once I've done that, I'll like breathe for a bit and then see what other ones I want to do. But I think I want to go to like proper university and get like a degree.
That's
eventually.
So exciting.
Yeah, because my goal, like when I'm like 50, is to have a massive like healing centre.
Really?
Yeah.
And tell me a bit about that, because I was going to ask you, have you got like a long-term goal? Because you are doing so many incredible things. Is there something like, okay, when I've done this, that'll be me happy? You're like, I'm never going to be
I think if I had a healing centre, so basically, obviously, like, I'm very open about what I've been through.
Yeah.
So I'm in therapy, and I have PTSD, and I had an eating disorder, and I've just really had a lot of stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
And people always say, like, how have you healed? Like, how have you become this person?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I dedicated my life to healing. And I think that healing, in order to really heal, healing has to be like a lifelong thing. And it has to be like things you do every single day. So I haven't just gone to therapy and everything's great. It's been like I have like Ayurvedic healing, so like old Indian massage.
Right.
And all these different things to heal and things that I work with and books that I read and all this kind of stuff. So I would love to just have a centre where people can come and have like holistic healing. There could be a therapist on site, art therapy, dance therapy, and aim it at children's trauma, and women. And I just think like there's nothing like it really in the UK, and I think that'll be my legacy. So I just sort of like get all the social media stuff and work with brands and do all the fun things that I do. But ultimately, like, my passion is to help people and, like, just leave a light behind.
That is amazing. I'm kind of, like, taken back by that. I didn't know you were going to say all that. Like, I think that'd be amazing. And I really hope, I definitely believe you can do it. And I look forward to seeing that hopefully come to life.
Well, I'm like 50.
No, it won't be 50. It will not be 50, Grace. I'm literally here like, nah, shaking my head. It's not. That's going to happen to you, and I really, really hope it does. Yeah. Is there something that you put in? Do you do anything to sort of visualize what you want? Because I've heard something about mood boards. Is it mood? Vision boards. I'm on vision boards.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I don't like saying spiritual person, but in layman's term, I think that's what it is. So I believe in a higher power.
Okay.
And I believe that you can achieve anything that you want. So I believe in meditation, the power of visualization, and self-belief. Like, I really believe that you can have education, you can have all the training in the world, but I really think that self-belief will get you further than anything else will. So I have vision boards, and I have like a gratitude journal, and I write things down. And I recently so over Christmas I was really unwell. I had a kidney infection. So New Year's Eve I was sat at home with my boyfriend like, well, this is great. So we did vision boards for the year. So I put a podcast on there, then the podcast happened, and I put like a BMW X4 on there, and I've got a BMW X4
Shut up. Now she's driving around in a German whip.
Yeah, literally.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I just think like you put out what you want, you have to believe is already available to you. And I think a lot of times this is me as well, like a lot of times we struggle with wanting things and achieving things because we don't think we deserve them.
Yeah.
So we just sort of, like I'm not sure I can really have that. Like it's too big. It's bigger than me.
But why should we think like that?
Exactly. And I think if you look at something and tell yourself every single day, I'm going to have that, you will. Oh, and I think it's that simple. I think capitalism and just the way the world that we live in teaches us that we have to just do the basic things. And I think that we have to dream like children, like, and remember that you can like do anything, anything's possible, which is difficult when you do go through stuff and you are suffering with depression, or you're feeling stuck, or you're feeling lost and lonely. We've all been there. I've been there. I think I'm slightly there now. I do feel sometimes a bit lost, but you just have to believe, and what's meant for you will happen.
You might have seen my face though when you said to me like you sometimes feel a bit lost.
Yeah.
Now I can understand. You know, I've watched a lot of your YouTube videos and I've followed you on social media for a while, so I know a little bit about your journey from what you shared. But for you to sit there and say to me you feel lost, you know, that feels confusing to me, because I think you look like tell me about that.
I think people feel lost when they're being redirected and they don't want to go down that road. Yeah. So for me, I had this very clear vision of how life was going to be and what I was going to do. And I just think that... So writing my book was like a big wake-up call for me. So I've spoken about it before, but my book, I felt like a failure doing my book. Right. I don't know why. I think the book world is very numbers-focused. Yeah. And there's a lot of pressure to have like a #1 best-selling book. And when that didn't happen, I felt like a failure. But I think that was the moment that I realised this isn't actually for me. Like, I don't care about numbers. I don't care about selling a product all of the time. Yeah. And I think I've been in this space where I'm just figuring things out. And when you go to therapy or you grow up and you do work on yourself and you become self-aware, you change and you grow. And I think with that comes a feeling of loss. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm still figuring things out, out what content I want to make, and what I want to talk about. And also, it's so scary stepping into your power. Knowing that you're quite powerful and you have a voice, it's scary to step into that. I think I'm sort of on the waters, like I'm dipping my toe in, but I haven't fully jumped yet.
Do you feel that it's quite scary because it's like, okay, so if I go fully into this, I'm fully powerful. It's like, I've got to maintain that forever. Is that what it is?
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. I think people always have a perception of you and want you to be a certain way and talk about certain things. And I went from doing ASOS hauls and talking about all this stuff to now not giving a damn about doing these haul videos and whatever. And I just think I've been trying to figure it out and like find out who I am. I don't think many of us know entirely who we are. We get lost along the way because of outside noise and what our parents want, what our teachers want, what our friends say about us. And I think healing is like stripping all of that away layer by layer. And that's a painful process. So I think I'm just learning to strip things back and then like just stay there for a while, learn who I am, and then strip back another layer. So 20s have been rough, but when I'm 30 in 2 years, I am determined.
Stepping into that prime.
Yeah, I've heard 30s are amazing. But yeah, it's been difficult. But I think also being lost, there's a lot of power in that.
Yeah.
And if you're constantly doing okay, then you're not really growing. I think that you have to be uncomfortable in order to grow.
100%. Recently, you uploaded a video on YouTube, and I think it was one of your first YouTube videos in a while. And you actually mentioned that you weren't sure you were actually going to make that video. You were going to come back because you were going to quit.
Oh, yeah. I pulled the towel on YouTube. I messaged my manager, said, I'm not doing it anymore. Yeah, I was like done. And I'm not done with YouTube, but like I'm done with how I was making content and how YouTube is as a whole. It's very clickbaity and there's just a lot of content on there that I just think is wild, and it just wasn't the place for me. You know, like in every job there's something that you hate doing. Some people it's like emails or the printing. For me it's YouTube. Out of all the stuff that I do, I just find it very difficult and it's very time consuming. It's all day to film and edit and get it up, and I just couldn't be asked if I'm honest. And yeah, I just felt like it just wasn't serving me. And I was just like, it doesn't flow. And I think that things in life shouldn't always be so difficult. And if they're difficult, ask yourself why. And YouTube for me was just so clunky and heavy, and I just wasn't into it. So I just took a massive step back, knowing that if I took a break, I might come back. And obviously I did. I went through a breakup last year and I was back in therapy last year. And last year was just very difficult for me and YouTube was too much. So I was like, well, yeah, I'll just come off it. And I've enjoyed my time without it, if I'm honest. Been able to do other things, obviously my podcast. And yeah, I think sometimes you just have to live. Like just enjoy life away from the internet. But I'm back.
You're back?
I'm back.
Fully back?
I'm fully back. I mean, not fully back, but
you're still
I'm gonna upload like, at least once a week.
Oh, okay. Well, everyone listening.
Don't quote me on that.
I'm so excited. Yeah, let's not quote. But no, that's really, really exciting. But I can completely understand where you're coming from there. I was actually smiling as you said something there because I know what you were saying is when something doesn't flow like water. That was a nice saying that you said. And I've heard you say that on something else.
My little saying,
and I think it's so true. It actually made me think, like I've never thought like that before.
What is real will flow like water. Like I try to look at life like the elements. Okay. And I think that so find things that ignite fire in your belly and like life should be easy like water. Not all the time because obviously water can be solid. But I just think things haven't got to be so hard all of the time. We're told they have to be. Yeah. You know, work hard, grind, do this, do that. I think sometimes just breathe for a bit and I think I just need to breathe in space.
And you actually said something about wanting to maybe delete your old videos, which again, for me, my head was like, what? Like, what made you want to, or what's made you think like that?
They might delete. They might be gone soon.
They might be gone soon?
Yeah. I mean, I've deleted a few of them already. I think people have maybe noticed, but I just think, so trauma, getting a bit deep here. So trauma creates a false reality. So like, you know, something bad happens to you. You can dissociate from certain things. You can find unwell ways to cope. So when I look back at past videos, I can see how unwell I am in different stages. So with food or with a relationship or just how I am. And constantly looking back sometimes means that you're going to stay there. And I don't want to ever go back to how I used to be. Yeah. So for me, it's like I'm starting again. So I have a new flat, I have a new boyfriend, and I have a new life, sort of. Wow. So sometimes you just have to move on from certain things. People obviously want the content up, they want to see old videos. But just for the person that I am now, I don't want to keep looking back at myself or people to look back at the person I used to be. Nothing about being ashamed, nothing like that. But it's more like everything comes in cycles. That cycle's over. Yeah, that's that.
Everything you say, I'm just like completely blown away by. I'm just saying, like, I think that's really, really, really a good message. Like, at the end of the day,
people I think are scared of change.
Yeah.
And freedom. And I think that I'm quite a free person. And I just think, well, delete them or just do that. I'm so like laid back about it. Just whatever makes you happy. And I think that letting go of my former self is freedom to me. Because there was so much stuff going on there. Yeah. And we shed. We're just like nature. Like we shed, we grow, we renew, we go with the seasons. And obviously like it's sort of like spring, summer. Yeah. And obviously I'm just like, let it go. Like I'm ready for that. For
the new chapter.
For the new grace.
Well, I think everybody will respect that entirely. And I hope that all your followers do. I'm sure they will respect your decision.
Yeah.
Now on to a little bit more about social media. So Instagram. We have to, of course, talk about the post.
What post? Oh,
well, the post I'm going to talk about is the period post. Period on the bed sheets. Come on. Talk me through it.
I forget that I even did that.
Do you?
Yeah.
No way. I bet that gets brought up quite a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh yeah.
It kind of blew up, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it got picked up straight away.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
And I didn't even... So basically, I don't think about things. Like, I don't think, oh, this might go viral. I just thought, well, this happened, and I'm going to post it because, well, I just am. There was no second thought. There was no... I was just like, oh, just a post. Like, it was so... like, no, it just meant nothing. I just thought I was just going to post it. And then obviously people lost their minds. And I lost loads of followers. Yeah. I gained some followers back, more than I'd lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, amazing. Eventually. And then obviously, like, all the news media outlets picked it up.
They did.
But we bleed. This is what I don't understand, right? We bleed. And a lot of us have had those days where you wake up in the morning and there is blood on your sheets and you're like, and that was one of those moments. And I just thought, I am so sick of like just not talking about things that we all go through. And I'm very period positive, sex positive, body positive. And I was like, well, this has happened. I'm working with Always anyway. I'm like an ambassador for them on period poverty. And I just thought, well, this has happened, so I'm just going to post it. And I think it was interesting, the conversations that came after it. Some people were saying, like, I just don't like the look of blood. Fair enough. But then saying that, like, period blood is disgusting, even though it's natural. Why are you posting that? I'm just like, it's just a patch of blood. Like, it's not like, just get over it.
Yeah.
So, posted it. And that's that. It still gets like likes and comments today.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm just, whatever. I just think that it's a natural thing. Like, it's part of our cycle. Yeah. It's how babies form. Why are we so scared to talk about it? It's period, blood. It's that. And I just think for me, like, owning all the parts of me is powerful. It's how I have that fire in my belly, and I don't regret it one bit.
Good. Well, we admire you for it. We really do.
Thank you.
I think that's part of you. Like, you're not scared to talk about these subjects.
Nah.
And that is, I think, massively, why your followers follow you, because they know you're going to open these conversations.
Yeah, I don't get, like, shy or embarrassed. Nothing surprises me. I used to work in a children's care home, though.
Oh, wow.
And I think that solidified and that just set in stone that you can't wince at certain things because you're working with kids and teenagers are outrageous, first of all, and when you're working with them, it's just wild. And I learned so much about what people go for, especially girls.
Yeah.
And I just thought I don't want to be that person that makes things difficult, or doesn't know how to react to certain things. So I've learned so much just as Grace, but also the training that I've had at the children's home and stuff. Young girls need to have people around that can just openly talk about stuff. We've got a right to learn about our bodies and a right to learn about mental health and how we function. And I just think there needs to be more people out there just talking about real life stuff. Yeah. It's fun and it's just, it's fun. And I just think I like doing it, so I do it.
I think we actually spoke about that the other day, about in school how young girls and young minds, young boys should learn about their bodies. We're getting taught how to put a condom on a banana. Yeah. But then we're not learning about our bodies that much. So it's a really important message.
I think there needs to be, sex education needs to be just changed completely. And on the curriculum, talking about like mental health and wellness. And I just think that times are changing, and people are having sex younger than they used to be. So we need to start getting education like to where it should be. And that's why I think that what I do, I'm proud to do what I do. Yeah. I think I'm a bridge between parents and schools.
Definitely.
I'm like the middle person.
Your big sister.
Yeah. And I love what I do.
It's inspiring. It's really good what you do. I've actually seen what you do with period poverty. So I think it's a very, very positive thing that you're doing.
Thanks, babes.
As always. Now, you've recently taken a bit of a social media break.
I did.
I feel like that's
You've done some research,
girl, I know all about you.
I'm into this.
Testing me now. You've recently had a social media break, and I think that's a really interesting topic because on the topic of mental health and especially young minds, social media is huge right now. Yeah. For good and bad reasons. So can you tell me a little bit about your break and why you decided to have it and maybe what you learned from it?
So I was packing my flat up and I took a week off work to do that. And I was like, this is the perfect time to just like recharge, reconnect to myself. I think that social media makes our brains work very, very fast. Yeah. And we can't always catch up with that. And that can make us feel anxious and make us feel all over the place and unsettled. And I felt, obviously with moving, you feel unsettled anyway. But I just felt a bit like wobbly. So I just said, I'm just going to take a week off social media. Week. And it was everything and so much more. And I noticed that when I came back, so when I was gone actually, I just found there was more hours in the day. Yeah. And I was doing face mask and I was like, this is ultimate self-care.
Quite happy.
Ultimate self-care. And then I moved and I came back, and the morning I downloaded the apps on my phone, I just had straight anxiety. Wow. Went from being here to up here. And that's when I knew that I just need to not scroll so much. So I post now and then come off. Amazing. I don't ever really scroll. So I don't really know what's happening in the world. I check in sometimes on Twitter moments. Yeah. But I just think if I'm meant to know about something, it's gonna come to me anyway. Yeah. And I love it. I just feel like you get way more done. When you're not on Twitter for hours, it's amazing what you can achieve.
Because you can literally get sucked in, can't you? You can be on there for 1 minute and the next thing you've spent 2 hours, literally, especially on Twitter because it's so conversational. And I think sometimes, like you say, you can learn a lot from Twitter, but also you can find yourself 6 hours deep into somebody's profile.
Yeah, and there's
you didn't mean to be there.
On your phone now that can tell you your screen time.
Oh,
that's wild.
I can't even look at it.
Yeah, wild. So mine was like 6 hours and I was like, no, absolutely not. So yeah, now I think I just try and do what I need to do and then just come off it. And I just think that I have a better quality of life because I think we see 11,000 images a day. So imagine like our brains, like our little brains trying to process.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that.
All of that. Yeah. So I just like, I'm not gonna do it anymore. And I just feel way better for it. Honestly. You should try it.
Wow, I'm definitely going to try. So what advice would you give to me and to others listening on trying to take a bit of a detox? Because I genuinely don't know how to. I don't.
So I think that social media addiction is very real.
Yeah.
So I notice that when I haven't got my phone in my hand, I'll start using my hand more. Like I'll notice that like it feels different.
It's like me now.
So I think that it's an actual problem. Yeah. Like it's a genuine addiction. So I would just like wean yourself off it. Mm-hmm. I think a really good place to start is to not look at your phone when you wake up. So like, and I don't do this anyway because I just think that's too much in the morning. But I would take like an hour to yourself in the morning before you look at your phone, and then an hour before you go to sleep. Just start with that and just see how you feel. But it will make a massive difference to your mental health, because then you're like just connecting back to yourself and like checking in with yourself, asking yourself how you feel, what do you need, are you okay? And I think with self-care, you just have to look at yourself like your child, like your inner child or your best friend. And that makes it a lot easier. Like, I look at me in the mirror, I'm like, okay, what does 6-year-old Grace need today? Because our inner child is still within all of us. Wow. Yeah, and you just have to recognise that.
I've heard you the reason I'm like, wow, I've heard you speak about your inner child, and to be honest, it's not something that I know much about. Mm-hmm. And to say that, to literally stand in front of a mirror and say, okay, now what do you want today as your 6-year-old? Yeah. I'm actually going to try it. Like, have you actually done that? Stood in front of a mirror? Yeah. I've tried things like that in the past, but like, I check my phone first thing in the morning. Like, literally, as soon as I wake up, my alarm goes off, I hit done. The first thing that gets open is Instagram.
So, it's and what unhealthy. Does that tell you? What does that...
I'm addicted.
What is that saying to yourself?
I've got a full-on addiction.
You don't value yourself enough to just, like, chill and, like, wake up. You're not even woken up properly yet. Have I blown your mind?
Do you
know what? I feel like you need to do A Course in Miracles. I'm just going to put that out there.
What is it?
So A Course in Miracles is by Marianne Williamson.
Okay.
And she's, like, this spiritual, incredible human being. Yeah. So our adult self is rational, responsible. Our ego is our driving force. Yeah. But our ego can be full of the inner critic and the critical thoughts and all that kind of stuff. And then our inner child is the reason that we are an adult, basically. So have you ever had an argument with like your boyfriend and you start stamping your feet and like pointing your fingers and he's like, "Are you joking?" That's your inner child coming out.
I'm literally laughing my head off because I'm like,
yeah, inner child. And sometimes like you might be in the mirror and you'll just have like a little glimpse of someone that you used to be, and it's like usually your child eyes coming through.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then the ego is, say you're walking down the street and you're like, everyone's staring at me, I feel so hideous. That's your ego. So your adult self is never unkind. Like, who you really are is never unkind, never evil or horrible. That's the ego, the egoic voice coming through. And a lot of people are either in their inner child or their ego, and that's when they have certain issues come up. So for me, healing is integrating all three.
Okay.
And that's like the mission that I think we should all be on as humans.
That's really thought-provoking for someone like me. So I hope to our listeners that is too, to people that don't maybe know much about that. I hope that really, because I'm going to look at the way I do things and now I'm like, that's my inner child. Yeah, I actually am, and I think it's something I would definitely like to learn about.
Yeah, because like what we learn from 0 to 3 shapes our whole life. So what you experienced, what you heard, what you saw from 0 to 3 is the reason that you are who you are today. So if you've had childhood trauma, or you've had certain things happen to you, it's obviously going to shape you. So healing is going back to your child and working your way back out. So it's like undoing all the stuff it's like diet culture, you know, we were taught that being thin is the best. Yeah. And now all of us are unlearning that. It's just the same thing. We're just unlearning all of society's BS, basically. And it's a very difficult process to go through. Yeah. But I think that so many people are waking up to that now. Because I remember like 4 years ago, my most asked question was, how can I love myself? Yeah. And now it's, how can I heal? Wow. So people have obviously shifted in the way they think. Yeah. Because when you heal, you love yourself. It sort of comes hand in hand. So people are on that path of wanting to just know who they are deeply and change the world and all of that.
And how has the healing process been for you?
Oh my God, long.
Is it something you're still going through?
Yeah. So I go to therapy every week. Okay. And when you're in therapy, every day is therapy. Because you're so aware of what's happening now. Yeah. So it's been incredible, profound, powerful, but also been really difficult.
Yeah.
And some days you just want to give up because it's so hard. And it's like an onion. So you peel back one layer and then another layer pops up and you're like, another one. And you do that one, there's another one. You're like, oh my God. So yeah, it's difficult. But I've got to do it. And I'm so much more happier and more confident in who I am than I was a few years ago. I wish this for everyone. I wish everyone could go on their own journeys, and they will. Everyone's gonna choose themselves eventually. But it's difficult. It's difficult. Not a lot of women as well, especially, give themselves enough time to figure out who they are. You know, we've got to go to the gym, we've got to eat healthily, and we've got to go to work and look after this person, and it's a lot. And I think part of the process for me was just being like, F it all, I'm just going to choose myself. And that's what I did, and that's where I am now.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Of course.
You spoke before about fashion.
Yes.
You are big into fashion. Obviously, you're a bit of a fashion.
Yes.
So tell me, where did your love of fashion come from? Is it something you've always been interested in?
Always. So I grew up at a performing arts school, so I used to only wear tracksuits. I was just a dancer. Right. So I had I was inspired by streetwear, dance wear, hip hop. So I used to wear Reebok workouts back in the day, and rope chains and like geek glasses, oversized pants, like crop tops. Sort of like how things are now.
Love it.
But that was me when I was like 12.
You were years ahead, babe.
Yeah. So always loved fashion, always loved taking photos. So taking photo of my outfit was the best part of a night out.
Yeah.
Like getting ready, sick photo, I'm done now, go back to bed. Yeah. So always loved fashion, always had a difficult relationship with fashion because of being plus size. And back in the day, there was just nothing that was mildly cute for you if you were bigger than a size 14. So I would experiment and I would buy men's clothes, or I would like cut things up, and it's a way to showcase to the world who you are on that day. As part of my identity. I think being a plus size woman, dressing well is like a big like fingers up to like the world. Yeah. And I just love it. I honestly, shopping is just, oh my God, it's the best, isn't it?
It's the best.
I love shopping.
Are you an online shopper or a street shopper?
Online shopper. Getting a package through, I'm just like, this is, thank you.
Releases all them endorphins.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it. And I think I like myself more when I've got a good outfit on. Yeah. I'm not even going to lie. I love it.
You feel confident.
And it hasn't even got to be like heels, jeans and a top. It can be a tracksuit and I think I look buff. So I'm just like, yeah, I love it. I think it's important.
Yeah, it definitely
and I think it's important as well that women can be like multifaceted. I want to look good whilst I heal. How about that?
100%.
100%.
How about that?
I
love it. And since building your community that we've mentioned, you have got this huge community now, which is incredible. How far do you think the fashion industry, the plus fashion industry, has come?
I think it has a long way to go. Yeah. But it's come far. Because back in the day, I think it was like just wrap dresses were the thing. Floral blouses.
I think about like 5 years ago, not even like less.
Blouse. Yeah. No, not for me. And I think that it's often just been an afterthought. You know, fat people don't want to look good. Just put them in a bin bag or put them in a wrap dress. It's so boring. But now we are turning a corner. Yeah. And I think more and more brands are waking up to the fact that you will probably sell more clothes and you will probably have more respect if you cater 100%. To larger sizes. So yeah, there is some progress that still needs to be made, but I think it's a very exciting time, and I think that there's opportunities to be had within the plus size community in terms of fashion, and I just think fat women that can dress, I just think they're just incredible. Honestly, I get so excited. I watched Beyonce documentary last night.
Oh my God, have you watched it?
Yeah, and the plus size girls dancing for her. I was like, come on, Beyonce.
Yes, Queen
Bee. Representation.
That's what we need
really
to see.
Matters. Yeah. Big girls can be dancers, they can be fit, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And I just think, we're in very empowering times at the moment.
And on that, what more needs to be done?
Okay, so we need to have different body types. So plus size bodies are great, but it's usually girls that have a flat stomach and a big bum. We need to see diversity in terms of larger body types. So like small boobs, flat bum, big tummy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just more different skin tones. We never really see Asian plus size women. They exist.
Yeah.
So and less abled women, people. So yeah, I just think that there's always more to be done, and I think it's great that some brands are taking that initiative.
Yeah.
And I think social media is encouraging that. If you have a rubbish campaign or you don't have diverse models, you just get dragged on Twitter. And brands don't want that. So they need to start actively making some change. And there's people out there that are willing to model.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Anyone can be a model. So, yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about an interesting topic.
Okay.
I know it's a topic you're very fond of. Let's talk about love. Oh. You're looking at me like, which one?
My boyfriend.
Your boyfriend. So you've got a new boyfriend. You've just moved in.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh my God,
Tell me a bit about him.
I love him so much. So I'm getting a little embarrassed and shy. So we met online.
Oh, okay.
In September. Exchanged numbers. So basically, we met online on a Sunday night, and I voice noted him. He goes, "I'm just going to call you," and he called me, and I just knew. I knew instantly.
You actually said in a video, you were like, I never used to believe in love at first sight, but now you do.
Yeah, I never used to believe in like when you know, you know.
That was it. When you know, you know.
And I picked up that phone and I was like, oh, wow. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And then we found out that like we were both like manifesting each other. Like he was like, I want a girl that's like this, and it's basically me. I said I want a guy that's like this, basically him. We look alike, we're just the same, but he's just got a penis.
It's those bloody vision boards.
Honestly.
Oh my God.
So that's on the Sunday. Then on the Monday I went to LA for work.
Yeah.
And we were like texting, we FaceTimed. And we just kept going, we just kept hanging out and meeting up. And then one day I said to him, I said, he was in bed and I was like, do you think this is what falling in love feels like? And he was like, fallen. And I was like, oh shit. And then that's the rest is history. Like it just aligned. It was easy, was never difficult. We just slotted together like two peas in a pod. That's it. He's a singer. Writes songs about me. He's just incredible.
He writes songs. I literally, if I couldn't fall in love anymore, I'd just have with you two. And I've not even seen you two together, but I'm in love with you both.
Yeah, he's just. There's nothing I can say. Wow. He's like a sex positive, body positive man. I never knew they existed, and they literally like he's that. Like he's just encouraging and just incredible. He's in therapy. Like he's just a very well self-aware man. He's me, but just the guy version. I just love him so much.
I'm so happy you found him.
I'm ready to get pregnant.
Oh my God, on the podcast, it's been announced.
I'm ready to get pregnant.
You're ready to get pregnant?
Oh my God.
Full on.
He knows this. I've told him. I'm like, come on.
Is it going to happen soon?
I don't know. I feel like when it's meant to happen,
when it's meant to happen, it'll happen.
Yeah.
But you've heard it here first, guys.
Yeah.
I think first.
But I don't think I realise. So I think people think that when you find the one or you find an emotionally available man, that it's just going to be easy. And I actually think it takes more work when you're happy, because you don't want it to go wrong.
Yeah.
And you don't hide, you don't run away, and you want to communicate. I think communication is quite hard for people.
Yeah.
So although it's incredible, it's still work.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we're both in it for the long run, and we both talk and communicate and check in. And he'll say to me like, "How are you today?" But like he'll say it like, "How is your soul?" And I'm just like,
This guy. Wow.
Yeah, and he's just talented and he's just everything.
You're both very creative people.
Yeah.
So does that have like help with the relationship? You're both very
he produced my whole podcast for me.
Oh, babes, thank you.
So, yeah, because he's a producer, he's a singer-songwriter, so he produces that for me. And he just gets it. Like, he's just... There's nothing I can say. Nothing I could say that would do him justice.
Wow.
He's just my heart. Just my heart.
Grace, I could sit here and talk to you for another maybe like 6 hours a day, like 2 days.
I'll come back.
I could come back for another podcast, please, because I could literally speak to you for days. But now it is time. Thank you for sharing everything you've shared with us. It is time to slide into those DMs. Okay. So, to everybody watching on YouTube, you will now need to click the link below so that you can go and hear the exclusive part of the podcast. This has been Grace Victory.
Thanks for having me.
She's a babe and I'm obsessed. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next week.